The Mariners are back home after getting swept by the Giants and losing Victor Robles in the process. So, naturally, you have plenty of questions. Let's answer them coming up here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Monday, April 7th, 2025. This is Titan Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONMLB. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, you can check out our Patreon. All you have to do to check that out is click the link in the description of this episode. So it's time to open up the mailbag like we do here every Monday and answer some of your Mariners questions. And we'll also be announcing the winner of our giveaway after the first segment. So be sure to stick around to find out if you're coming away with our grand prize. But let's kick things off with a question here from Josh. Josh wants to know, I know the sample size is small, but is it time to start giving Jorge Polanco some run as a designated hitter? So Polo out of the lineup the last 2 days, dealing with some discomfort in that knee that he had surgery on. The Mariners were hoping that he would be able to bounce back in time to play yesterday. That did not happen. He did have to come in at first base for one pitch after the Robles injury because they literally had no one else left on the bench. So we'll see what's actually causing the knee discomfort. They're still trying to figure that out, what exactly is aggravating it. They still have yet to determine if it's just him playing in the field or if it's just any baseball activity whatsoever. So let's assume that it's just playing in the field for a second here, Colby. If that's the case, should they just move him to DH?
I mean, yeah. You need Polo's bat in the lineup, which is a weird thing to say when, 3 months ago, we're like, I don't even know if this guy's good. But yeah, he does look more comfortable at the plate just in general. And he's also producing. So definitely need his bat in there. But, like you said, if it is just only the field is the thing that's kind of hurting him right now, then sure. But that seems unlikely. There's a lot of torque you put on your knee when you hit. Obviously, rounding the bases and running the bases is part of being a hitter too. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's just the fielding of a ground ball that is bothering his knees. I don't think that seems that likely, but in the off chance that it is, and they think that hey, if we take that off of his plate for a little while, the knee we can still have him hit, and the knee will heal quicker and all that, and we can put him out there again later. Fine, because the one thing the Mariners typically don't like to do is they don't like to have a full-time DH, a set-in-stone DH. But, beggars can't be choosers. And Polanco was basically already your DH who just happened to be playing third base, and the defensive results looked like it. So, yeah, I think it's time. You do it now, and, you're taking at-bats away from Rowdy Tellez if you do it. Oh, no.
Yeah.
And, obviously first base right now because of the Robles injury, which I'm sure we're going to get into a little later. Right now, Raleigh is kind of your only option in right field. And so first base is open anyway. So if you really love Rowdy, which I don't know why you would, but if you really do, you can just have him be the first baseman. Polo's the DH. Rayleigh's in right, and then you just run with Dylan Moore at third base. And at the very least, Dylan Moore is going to give you good defense down there at third. Right now he's off to a good start, although yesterday's game, he got another cookie and popped it up, which is the most Dylan Moore thing to do in the world. So you never know when that switch is going to flip for Dylan and he's going to go back to being a 38% strikeout guy. But that's kind of the risky run. And at the very least, you're getting defense there. And you're not rushing somebody up who isn't ready for a big league challenge. So yeah, I think Polo, the DH is probably the most sensible thing you can do right now. Again, assuming that it's the fielding that is really bothering the knee, not so much the hitting. If it's if you can't really tell, then you probably just need to put him on the IL, unfortunately. But if he thinks he can grit through it and at least swing left-handed or whatever with that knee without making it significantly worse, then yeah, you probably should DH him.
Yeah, I think the most optimal lineup right now is having DMO play third, Bliss play second, and Polo at DH.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that takes opportunities away from Mitch Garver and Donovan Solano, but you're already doing that anyway. So whatever. It's not like you're necessarily losing anything from how you're currently operating the roster at the moment.
Right. And if you're trying to manage Polo's knee right now anyways, then he's not going to be the everyday DH too. He's going to have days off in there. And obviously, so you want Garver to catch. Cal can DH, although they need to give Cal like a full day off at some point right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things they could do here without taking away big at bats. And don't forget, Donovan Solano can also play third. And that could allow Dylan Moore to move to second if you need to give Ryan Bliss a day off, blah, 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 blah. So
sure.
They do still have some versatility. But yeah, I honestly think they're a better club if Polanco's DHing and Moore is just playing defense and getting whatever you can from him offensively. But we'll see what they want to do. And hopefully we have news on that today. That little nugget that we got this weekend kind of got pushed by the wayside after the events of the ninth inning yesterday. So we'll see.
Yeah. I believe Justin Hollander speaks to the media at the start of every homestand. So I think we'll hear some stuff about Jorge, Victor, and then Kirby. Hopefully,
probably right about the time we wrap up.
Yeah. So yeah, probably by the time that you're watching this, we'll have some info on all three of those guys. Next question here from Ryan. Am I really going to have to watch Dom Canzone get regular playing time the next few months? So according to MLB insider Ari Alexander, that is the corresponding move for Robles going on the IL. Now, which IL is Victor going on? We'll see. Again, you probably know that by the time that you're watching this. But yeah, Canzone is reportedly going to be the one who gets called up by the Mariners today. Are you going to have to watch him for a few months or however you worded it? I think they're going to have a shorter leash on him. Obviously, that's dependent on how severe this Robles injury is, though it does seem like a pretty long-term thing. I mean, the pain was so bad in his shoulder that he couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
So
now, keep this in mind. We were also convinced that Taylor Saucedo had ruptured his Achilles or tore his ACL last year, and he only missed 10 games. Yeah. I remember that in Minnesota. So sometimes things look worse than they are, but that looked bad. Like the reaction looked really bad. So I think it's fair to assume it's going to be a while. As for Dom Canzone, I don't know if you're going to see him play a ton because he doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're going to DH Polanco, he can't play there, and you're not going to bench Luke Raley to get Canzone in there. So I don't know if you're going to have to see him in the long term. Actually, I think he kind of makes the least amount of sense of all the other guys. He's an outfielder. I guess that's the one thing that makes it make sense, but I'm honestly surprised it wasn't Samad Taylor, or they could have called up maybe Shenton and he could play first and third, especially if you're going to have Polanco, and then that frees up Raley to be a full-time outfielder and also could free up Dylan Moore to be the platoon out there in right field with Luke Raley. So I'm a little bit surprised it's not Shenton or even Locklear. But yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of first base types on the roster already. So I guess I get it from that perspective, but it felt like it was a Samad Taylor thing because I think you have the offensive replacement for Robles in Luke Raley. It just looks different. So I'm not really sure what Canzone's role is when he's called up here. So I don't think you're going to have to watch him a ton. I think this is kind of a week or two thing, kind of see, and then like, let's just, see how this looks. Let's get more information on Victor. And then depending on the severity, then we will make a long-term, or we will make a decision based on the severity. And so I don't, because we know they don't want to play Raley at first base all that much anyways, apparently. So why would you call up an outfielder to keep Luke Raley at first base? I don't get it. So we'll see, but I don't think that Canzone's just going to be the guy until Robles is back. I think they're probably going to cycle through a couple dudes.
Yeah, no, I think the leash will be pretty short on Dom. We'll see if he can finally, put it together at the major league level.
He's wearing sports glasses now. His numbers in AAA were not good, but small sample size, B, yesterday he hit 2 nukes, including one that was 465 feet in Reno. But still, I mean, it's impressive. But like,
yeah.
We'll see.
Context.
The baby giraffe is back. It sounds like though.
That's right. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't be too concerned about having to watch him for too long if it doesn't work out. I think trade could be an option for them eventually down the line. It just depends on who's willing to sell.
Check out
and
my
if
video.
and if you're actually able to, force a team to be willing to sell something to you. But we'll see. We actually might have a question about that coming down the line here in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I love that Just Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. Visit justingredients.us and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow @just.ingredients on Instagram. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. So before we get back into your questions, we have something to announce. The winner of our giveaway that we ran over the last couple of weeks. You guys killed it for us, getting us to 13,000 subscribers, which was our ultimate goal in this tiered giveaway. So that means that we added everything that we had to offer to the grand prize. And the winner of that grand prize is @iconic_swoosh. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone that entered and helped us get to our goal. Iconic Swoosh, you have 72 hours to reach out to us. Please email us at lockedonmariners@gmail.com. That email is in the description of this episode as well. Just email us at lockedonmariners@gmail.com. We have something for you to do to verify that it's you. And then once you do that, we will give you $125 worth of Simply Seattle gift cards, as well as 5 autograph cards from Colby's personal collection, including a Las Montes card, a Felton Celestin card, a Eugenio Suarez, Victor Robles, and JP Crawford. It's a pretty nice haul. So yeah, be sure to reach out to us at lockedonmariners@gmail.com. So congratulations again, and thank you again to everyone who participated. We will probably be doing another giveaway at some point here over the course of the season. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. All right, let's get back into your questions. Ross wants to know, this season at least is keeping on brand with the super depressing offseason. How bad do things need to get this season for Jerry to get fired? How about Dan Wilson getting fired? I'm actually more concerned about Dan at this point. His decision-making has been rough.
It's definitely not 10 games into the season.
No. Dan's not getting fired for a while. I would say that Dan's seat is a lot cooler than Jerry's, if I had to guess.
I think Dan has at least 2 full years because I personally believe that Dan Wilson was an ownership hire, not a baseball ops hire.
Right.
And because of that, he's going to be protected. So even if Jerry were to get fired, I kind of feel like John Stanton would be like, well, Dan Wilson's your manager if you want to be our GM. So
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Always a great way to start off a new relationship. So yeah, Dan's going to be here for a while, I think. But yeah, he's been a problem. And it's one thing to be like, yeah, is the manager actually helping? I don't know, but if he's not helping, or if he's not hurting, then he's helping. I think Dan Wilson's hurt a little bit. I don't know if he's directly led to them losing games, but he certainly has set this team up to lose more games than they otherwise needed to, with some really questionable decisions.
He hasn't put them in the best position to succeed.
Right. And just by that, if you're not putting guys in the best position to succeed, you're hurting your team, period. Right. So it's one of those things where it's like, and yes, I know that Dan had the 30, what was it, 34, 30, whatever it was, 40 games last year. But this is his first full year as a manager. Last year, everything was kind of already set in stone. Like the team was the team, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't trying to put his own spin on. He was just trying to finish out the season. This year, he's kind of trying to put his own stamp on the team, and he's making some weird decisions. So I do think you have to give him, some time to get a little bit better at this and kind of find his way. And remember, it took Scott Service some time to start to do things like using your best reliever when the game's on the line, not waiting until the ninth. But yesterday we saw Dan Wilson save Andres Munoz for a potential save situation that never came. That never happened.
Something that we talked about on Friday after that.
Yeah. So Dan, I agree with you. He has not made good decisions. He has not done a good job. Yeah. But he's 45, 50 games into this in his career. Yeah. So I understand giving him some slack, but that also doesn't mean you just ignore the bad things he's done and just be like, yeah, whatever. No, you call him out and you hold him accountable for those things, but I don't think it's a good idea to call for his job right now. Ask me again after tonight though. And then Jerry, I think Jerry entered on the hot seat. But again, 10 games, you're not going to fire the GM 10 games into a season.
I think it comes down to what we've talked about with Jerry. Like it's going to come down to what this looks like in September or how it's projecting to look like in September. Are people still coming to the ballpark in September? Yeah. Is there intrigue, right? The reason that Jerry has been around for as long as he has been, despite some of the shortcomings, despite all the PR blunders and all that stuff, I believe is because he has proven capable to ownership that he can at least build ball clubs that are relevant deep into the season and keep people coming to the ballpark with interest. Right. And have, close to sellouts, if not sellouts late in the season.
Yeah. I mean, like every year he's tried to build a competitive team. He has like a team that's at least competitive into September. He's done it. And ultimately, unfortunately, I believe that's all Stanton and Larson really care about, which is why we've talked about Jerry could win like another 85, 86 games and not be fired because Stanton doesn't actually care about going to the World Series. He just wants to keep people interested long enough. And so he is with spending the least amount of money possible. And that's why Jerry is because Jerry's proven he's really, really good at that. So he might get another opportunity after this year and another one, because I don't know if Stanton really cares enough about winning that he'll make that move if Jerry is actually competitive for another year. So I think the earliest we could realistically see Jerry on the hot seat, I mean, if this thing goes like totally sideways,
if they're clear sellers at the deadline, clear, like one of the very few sellers at the deadline,
games out of the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. I could see them firing him at the All-Star break. And then like Hollander just gets the deadline and it's kind of like an audition for him. Yeah. But assuming they're even remotely close to it, I would be pretty surprised if anything happened before late August, early September. I don't think that they're going to be clear sellers. So I would say the earliest Jerry's probably going to be fired or probably would be fired would be October. And it feels like an after the season thing or like pretty close to it, right? Like, I mean, if they're on pace to be like a 70 to 78 win team this year, then they probably do it sometime before the end of the season just so they can get a jump start on hiring the new guy. Right. But I think it just really comes down to how relevant is this team in September. Yeah. Like the earliest I could see Dan actually getting fired 2026, like
maybe next
2026. Yeah.
Like maybe the new GM / president of baseball operations, if there is one, is given free reign to hire a new manager and execute their vision fully. But for the reasons that you laid out a couple of minutes ago, I'm not sure if that actually will be the case. So I don't know. We'll see.
The answer is not 10 games into the season though.
No, for neither. Yeah. BT wants to know, do you guys think Carlos Vargas has earned a spot on the roster, at least for right now? His main concern was control, and he seems to have at least moderately brought it in within a manageable range. He's been pretty good. He had a good inning yesterday. I think he's carved out a role right now in the bullpen for the time being.
What Ty's saying is Mariners win the trade. So
That's right. That's right.
Bold statement. Yep. Word for word. You guys all heard it right now.
Yeah. I was going to tweet that if he completed that save on Friday.
I mean, and to his credit, he struck out the side.
Yeah. Sean Barber ruined content and my day on Friday. Yeah.
And, to a lesser extent, Miles Mastrobuoni ruined content yesterday, which is weird because he had a good at-bat, but still.
And he walked. Yeah, he walked.
Like, he didn't do anything wrong, but he ruined content.
I blame Duvall, actually, for walking up.
Duvall. Yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, he's pitched pretty well. It's a very small sample size, obviously. And a large portion of that is the 3 1/3 or 3 2/3 innings he pitched. But yeah, I feel like I don't want to say he's starting to earn the trust because he literally got the save situation because he was the last guy standing.
Yeah.
Right. But the other day he pitched in the 6th or the 7th. So yeah, I again, Vargas probably never going to be that guy with the super high velocity who gets a ton of strikeouts. But if he throws strikes, it is good stuff. He just doesn't get a ton of swing and miss. It's kind of Gregory Santos light, where you're like,
it's only a 16.7% whiff rate right now on the sinker, 21.4% on the cutter. So
yeah, but you watch it, you're like, this guy should be missing more bats. But the reason he's not is because he's in the middle of the plate. So he is throwing strikes, but they're in the middle of the plate. But the stuff is so good that he's a little bit able to get away with it. So for now, I think he's relatively safe on this roster.
Yeah. With this bullpen and with bullpens in general, especially at the start of the year, you just kind of have to play it by ear. So when I say that he's carved out a role for now, ask me again in a week.
I mean, what are you going to do when Brash and Taylor come back? A couple of guys are going to have to go down, and maybe one of them is Jesse Hahn, but the other one might be Carlos Vargas, who's out of options. Yeah. So, we'll see. But for now, I'm pleasantly surprised by Vargas this last week, and that's good because the Mariners kind of need a somewhat dependable middle inning guy right now because Sauce was obviously really bad, and Snyder's been pretty iffy. Although, man, they have not done Colin Snyder any favors this year. No. Every time he's out there, it's like, you need to give us 40 pitches. So, but yeah, they need somebody more reliable in the middle, and so far he's been pretty good. So I'm willing to give him that opportunity. Sure.
Next question here from Mariner Enjoyer. If Victor Robles is out long term, do you believe there is any possibility the M's make another push for Luis Robert Jr.? He's been very bad, by the way. I just want to mention that.
I know. Terrible.
I think he's running like a 15 WRC plus right now.
Terrible.
Yeah. So he's a perfect fit for the Mariners.
I mean, now, Robert's a very interesting guy because we know the White Sox are going to move him at some point this year. Yeah. And they were very patient this winter. They had opportunities. They said no. We heard that they were looking for, they'd rather have one potential impact type of player than a package, but he's not off to a great start. The White Sox are already really bad. We know that they're going to have to trade him eventually. And if he does this for another month or two, he's probably not going to fetch you much of anything.
Yeah, his WRC plus jumped from 15 to 31 yesterday, Colby. Improvement.
Trending player. So, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, do we want to make sure we secure something for him now, or do we want to run the risk that he's struggles again into July, and now we're trying to get rid of this player just to save some money? It's been a while since Robert's been good. The nice thing is, if you're the Mariners, is that it is only a 1-year commitment. If you acquire him, you don't like it, or there's some clubhouse problems, or he doesn't perform, it just costs you the salary for the rest of this year and then a $2 million buyout, and then you wipe your hands with him. If you do like it and he does come and he does kind of blossom and you do find 2023, Robert again, then you have him for 2 more years at a very reasonable, I think it's $20 million. This is two more years of club control after that. So you could acquire him and get 2.5 years, 2+ years of a guy who was kind of an MVP type of player in 2023. Mm-hmm. And if you acquire him and he's not that guy and you just want to move on, you're only really out the money and the prospect. And I'm guessing if you trade for him right now, the cost is going to be low relative. So like, again, I don't think this costs you a Laz Montez or anybody like that, but
No.
does it cost you maybe a Ty Pete right now? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I just, it's kind of tough to say this early in the year. But I think they will. I think they will have interest in him at some point this year. Right now, where they have to probably still pay him 14 of his $15 million. Like, can they even do that? Like, would John Stanton even okay that? I don't know. And so I think in a vacuum, the answer is yes, they should look at that. Assuming Robles is going to be out for a while, they should look into that. And again, imagine you get back into like July and your starting outfield is like Robert, Julio, Robles with Randy DHing. Like, that's lethal. Assuming Robert's good. So there's a big question mark with Robert. There's a lot up in the air that we can't really account for right now. But in general, should the Mariners go see what it would cost to get Luis Robert right now? I say yes. In a practical sense, is it likely that they can get him right now? I'd say no.
All right, we got a few more of your questions to answer here in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like the energy of an MLS match, the chants, the atmosphere, the last-minute goals. If you want to experience it all live, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLS tickets. Plus, ticket prices actually drop as kickoff gets closer, so you can score amazing seats at a great price. I love that I can see the exact view from my seat before I buy, so there's no surprises when I get to the stadium. Gametime also has event cancellation protection and even job loss assurance, so I can buy with confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Got a couple more questions of yours to go over here on Mailbag Monday before we get out of your hair. Mark says, I am going to stay positive. Yes, it was a bad 10-game stretch, but there were some winnable games in there, and I think the offense did show some signs of life. So I think what we do the next 10 is vital. Agree or disagree?
Sure. I mean, there's definitely some positives. I don't like that the players on the team are like, but look at all the positives after they just went 3-7 in the first 10 games. So maybe be like, yeah, we need to play better. We've played some winnable games that we didn't win, and that's a problem. We need to play better.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic based on some of the things I've seen, but we're 3-7. That's not good enough. We need to play better.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, yeah, I'm not worried at all. We're 3-7 and we're playing good baseball right now. Like,
Well, you see that really hot team that we just played? We played them hard.
And if we played them at home, things probably go differently. Like, come on, Julio, man. Like,
wasn't a huge fan of the Julio quote.
No, it's not like the worst thing ever though, but it's also kind of, a little bit tone deaf. I think we'd be like, like, I get what you're going for, Julio, but also like, what's wrong with being like, yeah, you know what? We didn't play well. But there's a lot of season left.
Someone on the Mariners making a tone deaf comment to the media?
I know.
What?
I know.
Oh my God.
What's wrong with the good old fashioned, like, we're not playing great ball right now. I think we're playing better, but we just lost 7 of 10. But it's a long season. We're going to keep grinding, and I believe in this group. What's wrong with that? Works perfectly. So yeah, I mean, there are some positives. Julio had a great game on Friday, a bad game on Saturday, and a pretty good game yesterday. So yeah,
by far the fastest that he's reached 3 home runs in a season. So that's cool.
Raise the banner. Fastest to 3 home runs in his career. It was unfortunately Robles was actually starting to swing the bat pretty well after his first couple games. So we can't have nice things. Randy Arozarena had an awful series against the Giants and then had a big hit to kind of salvage it. Although
it was still an awful series.
Terrible series. Polo got hurt, but he's been good. Cal finally picked it up. He had a good series down there.
Yes.
I guess like the main reason I'm optimistic is that like the starting pitching has not been good through 10 games. And we know that that's not going to continue. We know the starting pitching is better than this. And it's not like they were awful. It's just that they weren't, they didn't reach expectation. And Gilbert's been good for all but like one inning of his entire season. And Luis Castillo's been pretty good all season. It just, Wu had the one bad inning and it tanked his entire day. And Miller kind of struggling with his fastball control right now. And then obviously the number 5 spot, you're going to lose every start. You're going to lose 1 out of every 5 games guaranteed right now. But Spire looks good. Munoz looks good. I know it didn't look great yesterday, but I still have a lot of faith in Santos. You should get Brash and Taylor back pretty soon. I do think there's reason for optimism, but I think we need to acknowledge that, like, look, you could be optimistic and be like, look, it's only a bad 10-game stretch, but let's just acknowledge it was a terrible 10-game stretch and they did not play well majority of that time. Just straight fact.
Jake wants to know, I understand that the Mariners' offensive stats are lower because they play half their games at T-Mobile Park, but if both teams face the same hitting conditions there, why would the park lead to more losses for the Mariners specifically? That's not true. To start, let's just look at 2024. They went 49-32 at home last year. They had a 104 WRC plus at home. They were one of, I believe, 13 teams to have a WRC plus north of 100 at their home park in 2024. Opponents, by the way, for those of you curious, hitting at T-Mobile Park last year, 66 WRC plus. Only 2 teams, and I believe it was the Tigers and the Giants, had a WRC plus north of 100 at T-Mobile Park.
The Tigers.
Yeah, so I've also done quite a bit of research. There's some tweets on my account. You can search for them probably, where I posted some numbers about like the Mariners' offensive stats with the roof open and the roof closed, and then opponents with the roof open and the roof closed. And pretty much in every example, the Mariners' offense was better than all their opponents combined coming into T-Mobile Park. Now, are there series where opposing teams hit better than the Mariners do at home? Sure. That's the case for every team's opponents at every ballpark.
Yeah. There's also instances where the Mariners go on the road and out hit a team for a series. Like, your premise is just off. I mean, I know it seems like they never score runs, but T-Mobile Park isn't keeping them from winning more games. It's actually statistically helped them. So, teams aren't coming into T-Mobile and just running all over the Mariners. Now this year, I mean, to be fair, they're only 3-4 at home. So, I mean, it's not like they've been a disaster at home, but the premise of your question is just off base.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just don't have enough sample size this year to say that about 2025. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jay Sierra has our last question of the day. Is it just me, or have Cal's throws down to second been particularly rough this season? He's had some not great throws to second, but I think most of the stolen base issues go back to a problem that this team has had for years, and that's that their pitchers just don't care about keeping runners on the base pass honest. They just don't.
No.
We saw it with Bryce Miller 2 nights ago, where he who was it that stole third? Was it Lee?
I think it might have been Lee.
Yeah, Lee just took off before he even started throwing.
Mm-hmm. Luis isn't great at it. Logan's not great at it. So the fact that Cal throws out as many runners as he does is massive, because it's the only deterrent from teams trying to steal off the Mariners is that Cal is back there. So, I mean, sometimes the throws look off, but that's because he's rushing them because the runner got such a great jump. And sometimes guys just make mistakes, even platinum glove winners. So my main concern with Cal, and it's not even really a concern, but if we're going to start talking about him right now, is that he's led a couple of frame jobs that he didn't even attempt to frame, and they were strikes and they got called balls. And so it's just kind of like, it's like 2 or 3 pitches a game where it's a strike and Cal doesn't present it and it gets called a ball. And, it's enough that I've noticed it once or twice, but not enough that I'm like panicking or freaking out about it. Cal Raleigh's a really good catcher, good catcher. He'll be fine. Yeah. If there's one thing I'm not concerned about right now, it's Cal Raleigh's defense. He'll be just fine. Yeah. But you do have to remember that most of the time, and catchers will definitely tell you this, but most of the time, the base runner steals the base off of the pitcher, not the catcher.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, 12th percentile in called strikes above average, 67th percentile in framing. Hasn't qualified for pop time yet, so we don't know. It looks like he's about dead metal right now, but yeah. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think most of the stolen base issues just go back to that same issue that we just talked about with the pitchers, that they don't even try and keep guys honest. Like, how often do we see Mariners pitchers try and pick off a dude? It's not often.
It's really not that. It's really not that often. I mean, relative to now, I know there are fewer pickoff attempts in baseball because of the rules in general, but like, yeah, very rarely. They try to pick.
But I mean, like, look at like Robbie Ray on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw a Mariners pitcher look at a runner that much, throw over to first or second that much?
Probably Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
It's probably Robbie Ray was the last guy to do. Yeah, Castillo's never been particularly good at it. Gilbert's not very good at it. The Mariners, it's been a pretty consistent issue for them over the last 5 or 6 years. So that's why Cal is so important back there. But yeah, that's more of a pitcher thing than a Cal thing. But yeah, the throws need to be better. The framing needs to get a little bit better, but they will. I'm not panicking about Cal Raleigh's defense. I have enough, things to worry about with this team.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for all of your questions. Really appreciate it. Sorry we were only able to get to 8 of them out of the 97 or whatever it was. But yeah, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patino, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.